Georgia is heading to the polls this Saturday in a high-stakes parliamentary election seen as a choice between Russia and the EU. A union of pro-Western opposition forces will face off against the ruling party, which has been accused of aligning with Moscow and steering the country away from its long-standing hopes for EU membership. Well, for more, we can bring in Marika Mikiashvili, a member of Coalition for Change from the Droa party. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. I'd like to begin by asking just how big are the stakes in this election?
Hello, very glad to be here with you. Well, the stakes are existential. It's absolutely decisive elections for us. It's a choice between going back onto the Russian orbit or democratic, European, free future. For us Georgians, European choice has always been historical, civilizational, and we want to return to our European family where we think we belong, and the government denies us that opportunity. So this is the last elections where we can defeat them through elections. If they still manage to cling to power, there will not be any elections left in the country, and it will become a full dictatorship. But I have good news now. We are cautiously optimistic and poised to win, thanks to the high turnout and the opinion polls and the atmosphere in the run-up to elections and today as well.
And how can this election decide the country's future path in Europe?
Well, when we win these elections, and as I said, we are absolutely poised to win, then the opposition coalition government, we will immediately launch these reforms, judicial, police reforms, and others that are outlined by the Georgian president's Georgian charter. And that is the roadmap and framework to launch reforms that are necessary for Georgia to have EU accession talks opened. So among the opposition parties, we have this big umbrella agreement on what to do in order to obtain negotiation talks with the European Union. And the president, who is, by the way, French-born, had a very pivotal role in that.
Now, a lot's at stake, obviously, for Georgia, but this election is also of high importance for Europe and Russia as well, isn't it?
Yes, of course. It's very important for the entire region of Eastern Europe, and particularly Armenia, by the way, because Georgia is Armenia's only land connection to European Union and European aspirations, basically. And now with Armenia procuring French weapons for defense, if Georgia is fully put on Russian orbit, we might simply not allow these shipments to Armenia. But also more broadly, we had huge protests against this foreign agents law this year. And if, despite this unprecedented public mobilization and Western support for the people of Georgia, this illiberal government wins with their illiberal legislation, we will have autocrats and wannabe autocrats in especially EU enlargement area encouraged to do the same. And there are already cases, for example, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Milorad Dodik, the pro-Russian Serbian separatist president of one of the entities in Bosnia, he is also supposed to adopt this foreign agents law. And he's now waiting for what political cost the Georgian Dream will pay. And one more thing, this is the last government in Georgia that Russia controls. Absolutely. Because through new electoral laws in Georgia, no single party will be able to have outright majority. And even this government, the Georgian Dream, they never came as pro-Russian force. In Georgia, everyone in the country is absolutely consolidated about our European choice. 85% plus of people want European integration. That is why they were never elected as a pro-Russian force. They unmasked themselves as pro-Russians only lately, after they captured the entire state. And when Russia's invasion in Ukraine opened the window of opportunity for Georgia to actually proceed with the European integration, and they had to make specific, tangible choices. So after they are gone, Russians have no more political, social, cultural foothold in the country. This is the last Russian government in Georgia that we will be defeating today.
And lastly, we've been hearing that there have been disinformation narratives that have circulated during the election campaign. Could you expand on what these are and how much of a concern or not this is?
Well, yes, there have been several disinformation narratives. The narrative that the opposition will start war with Russia, that the anti-LGBT narrative that the European Union imposes LGBT issues upon Georgia, and a lot of different things, but no single narrative really worked for them. They needed to try out several narratives, but overall people do not really trust them anymore. These narratives do not penetrate majority of the public. You know what the main promise of the government is before the elections? That they will ban opposition parties. Their main pre-election promise is to ban opposition parties and declare us all unconstitutional as a revenge against the previous government who they unseated 12 years ago. They had 12 years to offer something to the public, but they have nothing to offer other than prosecuting us all.
All right, Marika Mikiashvili, thank you very much indeed for sharing your views with us here on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.